They say branding is a gateway to your true work. Welcome to another episode of the Women Series where we capture developments and stories that impact women. You'll be wondering why we always have to capture developments and stories that impact women. Obviously, that's what we do on Women Series. And last week, you'll remember that we started a conversation on branding, and we spoke on branding for career opportunities for women. And you recall that we established that you cannot take out while trying to achieve your career opportunities or making a name in your career space, you definitely cannot do without talking about personal branding. And that's what we're talking about today, personal branding. And joining me to have the conversation today is a TEDx expert, image consultant, a personal branding expert, as I would love to call her, and a lead consultant at the etiquette place. Welcome with me, Yvonne Ebbi. Thank you for joining us today. It's great to having you. By the way, you look good. I don't know. I love when I see my guests and they look absolutely good.
Thank you.
This definitely has to do with personal branding as well.
That's who you are.
Yes. So while I was trying to prepare for today's episode, I found something interesting online and I would love to read that out for you. So they said that your brand is a public identity and what you're trusted for and your brand to endure. It has to be tested, it has to be redefined, it has to be managed, and it has to be expanded as the market evolves. Now, brand either learn or disappear.
Absolutely.
So I'm asking this question because in recent times, or it feels like it has come to stay. A lot of people believe in faking it till you make it. How valid is this statement in terms of personal branding?
Right. See, your personal brand is you.
Right. So I was going to ask you
Right,
what is
right,
branding?
right.
What's personal branding, right? But
Yeah,
I want us to establish
Right,
that
right.
as a foundation.
Your personal brand is you. It's your signature.
Yeah.
It's the original you, and people already can tell you. So it's something you already are, that you've been projecting over time.
Mhm.
Your personal brand, your brand is your promise. It's something that you consistently project, whether you're aware of it or not. So it's better for you to be aware that, okay, you know what? I want to protect this brand. So the whole thing about faking it to making it is not
valid.
sustainable.
Yes,
It's not
that's the
valid.
word.
It's not sustainable. Because here's
not
what the real you is
sustainable.
going to come out.
Yes, definitely.
So why don't you practice being you? Branding leans on two pillars: originality, authenticity.
Yes.
Originality, authenticity. So there's no particular way to be a brand. Anybody can be a brand. But you must realize that what you're saying when you're quiet is loud. That's branding. What you're communicating, when you're not saying anything, you're speaking volumes. That's branding. That's who you are. And people don't buy products or services. People buy you. So it's important for you to know that what you're giving out is so strong. It's called perception. People depend, human beings depend on. So unknown to you, you are giving out vibes and perception. So there's no point saying I want to be someone else. The real you is going to come out. So why don't you be happy with it? Be happy in your skin. Be happy to be who you are, and that would bring your tribe naturally. So that's the whole idea. Be original, be authentic, be intentional. What brand do you want to project? Ask yourself that question before you leave, before you start the journey. What brand? Exactly who am I? What have I been saying all along? Ask your core team. They will tell you what you've been saying. And then you ask yourself, do I like what I've been projecting? If you don't like it, you can rebrand. You can go back to the drawing board and say, I want to be this. But you still have to be consistent. Yeah. You have to be intentional. You have to be deliberate about what you're saying. That it has to be a story. Like I said, your brand is your promise. So you're unknown to you, you're giving out something. Like we have a brand called Nigeria.
And we're known for that.
We're known for something.
Yes.
We have amazing brands. I was somewhere I was with a taxi man. I was in Cardiff. Okay. And I was going to my apartment. And the guy says to me, he's not from Nigeria, he's from Lebanon. He's like, and we're in Cardiff, he's from Lebanon. He's telling me, after this trip, I'm going to clock off. I want to watch football. I think it was a World Cup. He said, Nigerians are playing. He said, I didn't know who was playing with who. That I was so embarrassed. Right. So Nigeria is playing. He said, those boys play good football.
Okay.
Those boys play good. So he will stop playing. He will stop doing his work. What pays his bills, so he can watch Nigerian boys. And I think they were playing in Egypt. He was like, I can't miss that football. He was giving me updates. Why? The brand Nigeria, out of Nigeria, what we are good at, one of them is football. Okay. So that's the brand. Yes. It's not what we don't decide, oh no, we want to be known for this. No, already people know us. When it comes to football, we are good. So if we understand that, we can build on that. You can leverage on your brand. Your personal brand is bankable. It's a currency. It is your capital, initial capital. Mm-hmm. It is your resume. Yeah. It's a working plan. It's bankable if you know what to do with it. It's a currency. It's fluid. So you can work on your personal brand until it produces for you. It's a revenue channel. It is.
It is like I'm super learning about it. By the way, I reminded that I told you last week that you should come with your paper and your notepad just to jot things down. I'm sure you're jotting things down because from what you just said now, I've established that you've mentioned that your personal brand, by the time you want to try to brand yourself, you definitely have to ask yourself a question, who am I? That's where it starts from. And then you start knowing your personal brand is you. You have to hone it. You have to be authentic with it. You have to be intentional with it. And you have to be original with it. I'm sure you're learning and keeping point with that. So we've talked about what personal brand is, and we've established that faking it till you make it is not valid and it's not sustainable. So if you're out there and you're banking on faking it till you make it, it's time for you to retrace yourself, go back to the drawing board and try to rebrand yourself by asking yourself a simple question, who am I? So I've gone through your book. By the way, she's an author as well, and she's an author of this recent book, Finding Your She Pack. And I discovered that in the book, it was a research to help women find their personal brand. And during the course of this research, what were your findings? Like, I'm curious to know what exactly your findings were. What are the things you found out women were doing wrongly and should not be, rather, in terms of personal branding?
I found out two things. One, women have amazing content. There's no confusion about that. They have strong, great content. What they lack is courage. Some women, the courage to, step out. Because, we have a lot of, we second guess a lot. We self-doubt. We keep thinking, we'll be better. Am I good enough? I can be better. I want to do one more course. We're always learning. And it's a good thing to learn. But as you learn, believe in the one you've learned, apply it. So I have a poem. The poem says, start afraid, start silly, start incomplete. Keep thinking, start afraid, start incomplete. Just start. Because we think, I will start when? I will start when we keep thinking there's something more to add. It's a good thing. Prepare, I agree with you, plan. But hey, start. So the women I worked with and I interacted with had amazing content, but they sometimes lacked self-confidence. They had doubts, and sometimes doubts were overwhelming. But I could see glaring content and glaring, you have amazing. They're like, but it's one more thing to make it better. No. So I saw that. I saw women also who were struggling to sell. So they were selling stuff instead of selling themselves. I'm like, listen, the real way to sell is to brand yourself. It's an art of selling yourself. Don't stop telling me how awesome the watermelon is. Oh, it's organic, it's sweet. There's just so much you can price a watermelon. You can't go beyond a particular price. Yeah. But if you sell yourself and put the focus on you, as opposed to the product, people buy you. Whatever you place as a price, they will pick it up. Because you buy a bottle of Coke in Sheraton for like 1,000 naira. It's a bottle of Coke. But how dare you go to a roadside kiosk and say you want to buy, and it tells you if hot Coke is 1,000. You're going to beat the guy up. You're going to beat the guy up. You're going to beat the guy up. Absolutely. Why? Because he's selling a product. Yes. But Sheraton is selling you an experience, an encounter. So it's a difference. I'm saying to the women, you're selling yourself short if all the focus is on what you're selling. No, brand yourself. That's why it's important to appeal. The packaging is important. The presentation. I'm not just saying break a bank. You don't have to, but be detailed about how you look, about your call card, about your letter, about the way you. When I'm writing my SMSs, you think I'm writing for a journal. If there's a comma missing, I will delete it. It's my presentation. It's me. It's my brand. So long before I wrote my book, this is my third book, I was saying I'm a writer. I'm a prolific writer. I was saying it with the things I was doing, just a mere text message. I would put such details to it. My parents made me do that, and I didn't like it growing up, but it was part of my growing up. And I write you a letter or a mail, it will be done well before I press the send button. I am going to be sure why. I'm sending a message across. I'm a good writer. I am an author. I can't be an author and can't write a simple or plain. I can't. So anyone who is coming under my tutelage has to understand how to write because you're representing me. I mentioned presentation. That is so key. So I saw women who were doing stuff, who had such great content and words to share, but were shooting themselves in the leg. So I had this master class. And one woman said to me, actually two, one said to me, where have you been? She was angry with me. Where have you been all my life? I've been used like a doormat. I didn't know anything about branding. Where have you been?
And it's
so I got the message. Yes.
You think people know, sorry to cut you short.
Absolutely.
You actually feel like people should know this.
Right.
But no, they don't.
That's because you know it, it's your reality and you're kind of used to it. Yeah. I had that problem as well. Another one said, I said to him, listen, speak. When you're in a meeting, speak. Don't try to think I will speak when I know. No. Speak. You're a work in progress. All human beings are flawed. Stop thinking you must be perfect to start. No. She said to me at the meeting, it was a 2-day meeting, Yvonne, yesterday I spoke. I was so nervous, but I spoke. I don't know what I said, but I spoke. Listen, it made her feel more confident. That is important because your sense of self-worth is linked to how you feel about yourself. So style and confidence. If you're in an environment where they're talking you down all the time, you're useless, you're hopeless, they're killing you. That's your core. That's your essence. So we say build yourself around people who tell you how you can get to where you want to go, who boost your self-esteem. It has to be boosted. Who make you talk up on you and make you feel like you're worth something. Yeah. Because our sense of self-worth as Africans is probably why we are where we are. Our sense of worth. Our sense of worth. We just normally sometimes just feel inferior. What is the basis? Somebody else walks into the room, maybe lighter skin, and you just believe he knows more. How? From where? So our sense of worth. So the whole branding thing is a whole journey. It's a movement. You create your own brand statement. Listen, it might cost you crying and feeling like I'm not who I'm supposed to be. That's fine. I'm not who I'm supposed to be. Cry it out. Walk past your past. Cry it out, but you will if you continue with it and you keep affirming yourself. My book has a lot of affirmations. Affirming yourself. I am this. Even though you don't believe it, keep saying it. One day it will be real. Tell yourself, you're beautiful. You're crying, you're beautiful. Until it becomes true to you, keep saying it. And once you believe it, you will see yourself living it out. If someone says the contrary thing to you, you know what to believe. I remember someone was saying, I think it was on social media, he said, his friend said to him, you have a big head as a child. You have a big head and you're dark-skinned. But his mother kept saying to him, you're handsome. You're a handsome dude. So what they were saying after didn't last. It wasn't sustainable. Yeah. Because what the mother told him was deep-rooted. And he kept saying, and the mother was doing the same. The mother said to her, I'm a fine girl. After we all had stretch marks, I'm a fine girl. I'm a fine girl. So he watched her do the same thing to herself. And now he can tell his wife, you're a fine girl. She's thinking, are you sure? I have picked someone. You're a fine girl. So it's all in the same mix. That you're building momentum, you're building value, you're building your personal. It's a journey. It will take time, but you have to start. It will take time. But ask your core team. Listen, ask people that can tell you the truth. Who am I? Tell me, what do you see? Because you might think you're one thing, but what are you projecting? Right. That's the real, what you assume. That's what people really see. So you might think, well, I'm this. I had a case study in my book where I said someone, I think her name was, I saw her, where was it? and she was, nice. Her appearance was fantastic. Somebody else had a lot of information, good content, but she was always looking tardy. And so this time they asked her to go on a trip, an all expenses paid trip. And the other girl was envious. Why would they always take all my hard work? This lady is lousy. She was lousy, you thought so, but she was always prepared, always looked the part, knew how to communicate properly, knew how to make it. So they always chose how to go for office and annual events and annual conferences. And she felt like, no, what I have up here, it's not enough. Your non-verbal communication, your appearance is key. Your content is important, but your appearance is key. So that's really what
I feel like we can even end the show here, but I mean, I still have to ask you certain questions. So in all you just said now, what my take home or the pick points I can pick from this is focus on yourself. It is very, very important. Be self-conscious of the people around you. They also help in building your self-worth. You value more. Speak to yourself. You are good. Affirm yourself. Self-affirmation every morning is very important. I remember I learned from a child, a little girl. I watched her. She was trying to play a keyboard, and she kept on telling to herself. Kept on making mistakes. And she kept on telling herself, I believe I can do this. I believe I can do this. I'm like, if this lady can say, I believe I can do this, who am I not to believe? Yeah, definitely. Our mom has made her believe that she can do better than that. You'd agree with me that personal growth is personal, and we have our different upbringings and values and whatnot. But there has to be like a key element, nexus that connects everybody together when it comes to personal branding. What are those key elements?
Well, for me, I would say that don't lose your humanity. Don't lose empathy, whatever it is you're trying to achieve. That's what connects us. We are first and foremost human beings. Don't ever let anything around you make you lose that. It's in your journey to discover and maximize and perhaps monetize your personal brand. Don't lose focus of the fact that we are all humans. That brings us together. Yes. And because stakeholders are observing. That's the reality. And I said to people, your brand is what people discuss about you when you're not in the room. Yes, when you're not in the room. So that's why is what people say about you when you're not in the room. That's why faking it cannot help, cannot work.
And people usually know when you fake it.
Absolutely. So what is the point?
It has a way of just
it's bad for you. It's bad for you. So because stakeholders are drawing conclusions, but you are the one to empower their perception. It's a wall of perception. Don't say, I know what I have. That you're not enough. I'm sorry. It's not about you. It's about what people who are stakeholders. You can't say, well, God is my source. He is your source, true. Yes. But in the manner in which he has created human beings, people respond to what it is you're showing them. So your perception is crucial. I will say, and it's my book as well, I said, perception may not be the truth, but it is stronger than reality. So you can't ignore that. So, and people are observing you. I walked past a ticket office once, and a woman said, I've been watching you. I don't even know her. I could have been careless, She said, I've been watching you. I love the way you... And I was in a hurry. I didn't know who she was. I was just doing my thing. That's why you have to be original and authentic. But you have to practice being that as well. Don't be original and be lousy and say, well, that's how I am. No, you can change that.
I detest when people tell me that's how I am. I can't change it.
It's an excuse. It's an excuse.
That's how I am.
And guess what? That will be a sin that will keep them down for a long time. So she said to me, I've been watching you. I like the way you walk. I wasn't even aware. But it gets to a point where it's a part of you. It's your promise. So you can work on something and say, I want to speak politely. People learn to communicate. People learn to speak well. People come in speaking with horrible intonation, with mother tongue interference, but they learn to pronounce words. It's practice. So it's a part of you that tells you, I have a big dream. This personal branding, I will not be in my path of personal branding. I'm going to ensure that I make my path interesting. Listen, as human beings, we are 7 billion, 8 billion on earth, about 8 billion on earth. What is the singular thing that will make me see you as I'm a human being? I don't know your heart. I don't know what your intentions are, but just by face value, how do you get selected? We will give you the stage to express your wealth of talent. We are many. Yes. So it's smart of you to create that brand. So I don't even know what you have on the inside, but something about the way you carry yourself, your composure, your mannerism, I watched an interview and someone said, he said, I'm an interviewer as well. I said, I'm for the interview. Help me tie my tie and put my tie on. He didn't know what to do. So they were all giving him kind of snide remarks. One person helped him. Guess what? He was the interviewer. She got the job. Wow. That's what I'm saying. So you just never know where it is coming from. I've seen faith. See, your personal brand is directly proportional to your perceived worth. I've seen people grant me, they don't even know why. And I'm thinking in my mind, I don't even know what, but they say to me, are you etiquette? Oh my goodness, you look like it. Yvonne, I'm sorry to interfere with you. You look good. And it's not because you're dressing, you're vulgar. It's just your composure, your mannerism. You're not saying much, but you're saying a lot.
That's true.
So I'm saying to people, you can create that reality. That narrative is yours to work on. It will be hard. It will be hard work. Over time, it will become part. It'll be like autopilot. It'll be like part of you, part of your thinking. You can school yourself to think in a particular way so that you can express yourself in a particular. But your presentation is key.
I just took out something again from what you just said. Your personal brand is proportional to your perceived worth. We have spent exhausted our time, but in 2 sentences, can you just tell us like key steps to take in working on your? I'm sure you've highlighted, you've explained all of this, but in summary, like 2 sentences, what you need to know or steps to take.
Keep your internal environment, buff your internal environment to be positive. Okay. Ask yourself, who am I? Listen, tell yourself the truth about who you are. It's okay to be you, but that person you discovered, begin to build a brand. Be authentic, be original, be deliberate, be intentional about who you want to be. If you continue that narrative, you keep saying, you're consistent about what you're saying, you will get the message. You don't have to shout about it. You have a timeline. We are watching you. Yes. We check you on Google. We are seeing what the media is saying about you. We hear you speak. We hear you not speak. You're non-verbal, you're verbal, you're communicating. Your appearance is communicating. Your response, someone insults you. How do you respond? Things are real. This is real life. Someone insults you. How do you respond? It shows who you are. It shows the kind of person you are. It shows the value. You can't say my mission, I have a broad plaque of mission, my mission statement, or my core values. Yeah. Do we see that in you? Yeah, if we come at one glance at you, tell you, I can tell your core values because of just talking with you or just watching you. Right? So I'm saying that find a core team and ask them the real question. Who are you? Take the response. Don't be hostile. Take the response. If you don't like it, you can change it. If you like it, you can strengthen it. But perception is all people are looking at to determine where they place you. Human beings are like that. You can work with them. Stakeholders are observing you. And they are the ones who are empowered to determine how far you go career-wise. That's how the world works. Now, you are the ones who empower their perception about you. That's your work. It's your responsibility, and you can do it. You have all it takes to create that brand of worth. So, let's do it.
I love how you ended that. Let's do it. I mean, we've learned a lot today. And the final part is, what exactly are you doing with the information you just learned? What exactly are you doing with the information you just got? Let's do it. Work on it. Work on yourself. Focus on yourself. Surround yourself with positivity. It is very important. And I mean, you are just on a path to greatness. That's how it is. Thank you very much for coming on the show today. It was great having you. I enjoyed every bit of this conversation. I must say, time just flew, and we didn't even know that we had passed our time. Thank you once again. It's great to have you. Yeah, I need to. And that will be all for today's episode of the Women's Series. If you've got questions or comments, kindly send them to ayomide.oguntoye@proshareng.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you want to go through our news stories, log on to www.proshareng.com to get more information on our personal finance and news stories. On a final note, I want to add that personal branding is the heart of becoming knowable, trustable, and likable. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.